Hey guys, Akimbo Chris back out here on the range again today with Crusader Armory TV. And today guys, we are talking about modern combat rifles, specifically the Bren 2. I just picked this gun up guys, and I have been excited to shoot this thing. This will be my first impressions on the firearm. I've wanted one of these for a very long time. These guns are just really sick looking, right? If you were a fan of the Scar and you grew up playing Battlefield and things like that, then you'll definitely get excited when you see something like the Bren 2. The Bren 2 does get compared often to the Scar, the 5.56 model, and also often to like the SIG MCXs and things like that. How this differs from something like a basic AR-15 is this is a piston-driven system. So it's much different than your direct impingement recoil system that's in your AR-15s. So it does fire and feel a little bit differently. This is more relatable to something like an AK-47 that is piston driven. So I don't know how that really affects reliability, but today we're going to find out. This is going to be my first impressions shooting this gun. So I'm really just going to go over the features, things like that, and really just compare it to like a AR pistol. This is a 8-inch barrel. So with that being said, this thing is probably going to sling some pretty big fireballs out here, but I want to compare it to my 10.5-inch AR-15. I didn't bring it out today on the range. We did just shoot it last week, and I don't want to make this video too long, but I will just kind of directly compare my experience to that 10.5-inch AR-15 and see how this would stack up to something like an AR-15 that would be in the same price point as something like this, right? Is this better for modern combat than an AR-15 is? Well, today we're going to try to figure that out, right? I do think out of the box this does come with some really good ergonomics and really good accessories, so we're just going to compare them to the AR and kind of talk about the differences. Alright guys, so the first thing I kind of want to go over is I'll go over the build here, and I'll just go over like first impressions based on, you know, just kind of how the gun looks and feels, the ergonomics of it. So first impressions is the gun is very light for what it is, right? These do come with a polymer lower. So the entire lower down here is made out of some type of hybrid polymer, which makes the gun so much more lightweight. So this is not a super heavy firearm. Even with this stuff put on top of it, with this very large EOTech and very large magnifier, it's still not very heavy. You could take this to the range and shoot all day and probably not have any issues with your arms tiring out as long as you hit the gym. So just up front, what I do want to talk about is this comes out of the box with a lot of the things that you look for in a high-end AR-15, right? So this, in my opinion, leaves very little to be desired just from coming out of the box. So you do, just starting out here, you do get a 45-degree safety. So I know a lot of people like those. I am one of those people as well. I mean, not that it makes a super big difference, but you know, it's just less room to travel to take that safety off, right? It is very audible. I will say it is a little bit stiff, but I've never been a heckler about safeties. Safety is always a good thing, so really don't have much to say about that. Another thing is the trigger is actually, I haven't shot it yet, but just from dry firing it, it does feel phenomenal. It is a 2-stage trigger, so you do get a 2-stage trigger out of the box. This being oriented towards a modern combat weapon, that makes sense, right? You do want a 2-stage trigger. That way, when you are taking longer shots, you can kind of just hang on the wall to make sure your shots are accurate. But also, just in case, you know, there's ever a situation where if you are using this in a combat role and you have somebody in front of you, or you're clearing a hallway or something like that, or you know, you're aiming at your target but you're not ready to shoot, you can kind of just sit on that wall and get ready to dump in a sticky situation. However, I don't know a lot about combat. I'm just a guy who shoots at paper in the backyard, so take my word with a grain of salt. The next thing here is the bolt release. So they actually do have a bolt release here right by the trigger, which is very ergonomic. It makes this gun very quick and require very little modifications if you wanted to, you know, run this gun a little bit harder. So if we do lock the bolt back, you do have your bolt release here. You just push that up. It kind of leaves the bolt open like that, and then to release it, you just literally put your finger in the trigger guard and you push down, and it sends it forward. So that way, if you are doing a quick reload and you need to reload this mag in there, you can just come off and then push down and then get right back on the trigger. I do like that you get that out of the box. However, this is around a $2,000 firearm, just, you know, base gun without any optics or anything like that. They do come with some iron sights, and they come with some very nice iron sights. So that's another thing I'll touch on here. I don't have the back iron sight on here because I did take it off to put my magnifier on here, just so we could use it today at some range. However, it comes with some metal, really well built iron sights. So you get these steel aluminum, really built iron sights, and they have dots on them as well, like a ghost ring, so that way you can line them up. I really do like these iron sights. Next thing I'll mention here is you do get an adjustable gas block. So if you were to run something like a suppressor, or you feel a gun's too gassy and you want to lower the recoil a little bit, you do get an adjustable gas block. So the one thing that I will say about the pistol versus the 16-inch variant is that the pistol only comes with 2 selections, which is like, I guess, just lower and higher in terms of gas. But the rifle comes with 3 selections, and they actually have a built-in suppressor mode. So not too sure how well this will work with a can, but I guess we'll find that out if they pass that suppressor act that we're all hoping that they pass. So let's say our prayers for that one. Another thing here, just touching back again on the polymer lower, is you actually have back straps that you can replace. So like I said, this is not going to be as modular as your AR-15. However, you know, since you can't change these grips out, you can get different back straps. You can pop this pin out here and get different back straps to fit your hand. So I do really like that as well. You know, a lot of customization went into this gun to make sure that it was designed around a shooter, designed around somebody to be able to use it quickly, and be effective with it. And I really do like that. The muzzle device we do have on here is a dead air 121. So it is suppressor ready. Now these don't come on these guns out of the factory. However, I did get this gun secondhand, so that was already included. So hopefully we'll either get a blast can for this, that way we can screw it over, and if they do pass that law for suppressors, then we'll get a can for it and go ahead and tighten that baby down on there. We already got the muzzle device for it, so that should help out a lot. Overall, the gun really does feel good. It looks really sick on here with the EOTech. This really looks like a SWAT gun or something like that, something you would see the SWAT people carrying. And you know, I'm just super excited to shoot it. So, and I'm sure you guys are excited to see it. So without further ado, I'm gonna get into the shooting here. We're gonna start out with just some accuracy testing. We'll step back here a little bit, shoot at the gong, and shoot at some of these paper targets that we have out here, and just kind of see how it groups just out of the box. Not sure how sighted in this EOTech is, but hey guys, we're gonna figure it out, right? You guys are out here with me. This is my first impressions. So we'll figure that out, and we'll do some accuracy testing, and then we'll just start running some drills on it, run it real quick, see how the trigger feels, see how the gun overall feels, and just kind of talk through it and compare it to something like an AR-15. We'll even mess with the gas settings a little bit. So let's get right into it. All right guys, we got 5 rounds loaded up. I'm gonna take a few shots at each target, maybe 2 each, and then I'm gonna try to hit the gong a few times. Like I said guys, I don't know how sighted in this gun is. These are my first shots, so hopefully we don't have to adjust it. But the good thing about the EOTechs is they're flat heads anyway, so it should be pretty easy. So let's get it. All right, first shots. That feels good. That feels really good. Like, you would think with it being like a heavy piston, there would be a lot more recoil. I kind of feel like this shoots flatter than my AR pistol. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
It didn't look like it had
you
much
could feel
climb.
the thump in it, but it doesn't move.
It looked like it didn't climb much at all, if any.
Maybe that's due to just the weight of the piston.
And it might
it absorbs a lot more of the recoil. Even though there's not a lot of recoil anyway with 5.56. But let's go look at the targets. Yeah, we got one here and one here. Not great. Here and then here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put some more rounds in, and I'm really just going to take my time with the shots and really try to get a good group. Let's let this thing breathe some fire. Probably some pretty big fireballs coming out of this thing, huh? For that 8-inch barrel. I can't really see because I'm inside the magnifier, but okay, I'm gonna try to group these a little bit better, but I am still freestanding, so it might be a little bit hard, but let's see what we can do. All right. So we slowed it down a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there, that's not bad at all. Obviously, I'm not like prone shooting or rest shooting, and I'm swaying hell of a lot, probably due to my weak forearms. I need to work on that, but not bad at all. I think that's probably about 35 yards or so, 30 or 40 yards, so not too bad at all. All right, let's let's mess with the gas system a little bit. Let's see how big of a difference it makes. All right, so to switch the gas system, all you have to do is just turn this little knob up here. It's like fairly easy. You can switch it on the fly. So let's see how well that fires and if it still functions reliably. I mean, I don't really know. There's not a lot of videos out there on this gun, surprisingly. It seems like, you know, obviously in this realm of firearm, the modern combat rifles, there's some other more popular ones, especially the Jackal. It seems like the Jackal's even covered more than the Bren 2, which is surprising to me. But I guess it's cheaper and more of an entry-level gun, so it makes sense. It doesn't feel super different to me. Like, I don't know, there's not a big difference for me. I don't know which one's better. I'll have to flick back and forth throughout the day and just see. So what I will say, just first impression shooting the firearm, you can feel like a clunk up front a little bit. It's smooth, don't get me wrong. You can feel there's a little bit of recoil up front. You can feel it in the gun when you're holding it, but it's almost like you don't feel any, there's no rise, and you don't feel it at all in your shoulder. Now, you don't feel it really with AR-15, but you definitely feel a little bit of rise when you shoot it. I feel like there's less rise with this, and maybe that's because it's more front heavy since the piston's up here, but I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, we're gonna run it fast now. We're gonna try to get it a little bit faster and just see how fast I can run it. So let's do that. Okay, I wasn't trying to run it extremely fast, but you know, just pop shots off. I think this is definitely faster than my AR pistol. Now, a lot of that has to do with the trigger. Like I said, I have a 2-stage Leroy trigger in mine, and that one you definitely have a little bit of a reset on it, so follow-up shots are kind of hard. It's more like a double tap type of gun. But this you could probably run this pretty quick. So, and that was on the second gas setting. We'll go move it back to the first and do some more. Let's look at the target real quick. I did take some shots of that. Oh, it looks like I still put them in center. Looks like there's another one right there, maybe one right there. I only put a couple here, but pulled one there, but that's to be expected. And I shot a few at the gong. Not bad, not bad. I'm thoroughly impressed so far. And it's just a sexy gun. Let's be honest. This is a sexy gun. I mean, the Czechs really know how to make a gun. Is the Swiss do too. I'm a big fan of B&Ts as well. I did have a GHM-9 for quite some time, and I really wish I kept that gun because that would have been the perfect gun to run alongside this for like a pistol caliber carbine, but I ended up trading it a while back for something else. So I wish I still had it, but I definitely do like the B&T. I think B&T, the Swiss, they make really good firearms, and the Czech make really good firearms too. Like, let's be honest. I'm an all-American type of guy, American first type of guy, but let's be honest. It's great to live in America when we can have these things imported from other countries and buy them with American money. So, Cameraman.
What's up?
I'm gonna let you take some shots with the Bren 2. This your first time ever shooting a Bren?
Honestly, yeah.
What do you think of the gun, just the way it looks, the aesthetics?
It looks really good. I thought it was going to be heavier than it was.
For what it has on it, it's pretty light. So.
It is. Like, if you compare this to your AR, I mean, your AR is heavier.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's know what you think.
Empty. Honestly, it shoots really flat. It really does. You don't feel it back here, you feel it here.
Yeah, you can feel the action moving, but you don't feel a lot of it. And like, look guys, we know it's a 5.56 and it's not supposed to have a lot of recoil, but the fact that it's an 8-inch and it doesn't have a lot of rise is what
surprising.
You know, is what's surprising to me. Maybe it has something to do with that dead air on the end of it, but I really doubt that.
Might be the piston.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. Now we get into the fun part. We're gonna do some drills, run this thing kind of fast, get it heated up, see if it malfunctions. I highly doubt it will. These guns are very highly reputable when it comes to what people say about them online. Yeah, I do want to run this, and I do just want to mention real quick, you know, we're going to run this hard. You know, this comes with, like I said, everything your expensive AR-15 would come with. Like I talked about one of my last videos when we went over my PSA build AR-15, and I was kind of comparing it to expensive AR-15s and what you pay for. This comes with a lot of the things you would pay for in a $2,000 AR-15. You do get a hammer forged barrel in these things. So when we talk about a modern day combat rifle, these things are pretty much built for combat. You know, they come with your forged, your hammer forged barrel. Like I said, you can adjust the gas system if you want to run a suppressor or something like that. Maybe able to cut some of the gas down. You know, the ergonomics are already, you know, top tier. So, you know, overall, you're really getting a combat ready weapon when you buy something like a Bren. This would make a perfect home defense gun or something like that, seeming that it is so short. So, you know, and a lot of people talk about velocity when you get down to an 8-inch barrel with a 5.56. Guys, if you carry a 5.7 or you have some 5.7 at home that you're using for self-defense or something like that, then a 5.56 out of this barrel is still going 2,300 feet per second, which is faster than a lot of the 5.7s, and you know, right there with it if you compare it to like barrel length 5.7 wise. Like with a 16-inch barrel, 5.7 can get up to 2,300 feet per second, and I don't think anybody's arguing about the lethality of that. So with the 8-inch barrel, sure, you're cutting down a lot of velocity and a lot of kinetic energy. However, out of an 8-inch barrel, you're still getting somewhere around, you know, 700 to 900 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, and you're still getting somewhere between, you know, 22 to 2,400 feet per second, depending on the ammo that you run. So still viable. I would definitely say something like this in the 8-inch configuration is going to be more oriented towards something like a PDW though. So I will just say that. But yeah, we're going to start doing some drills out here, speed it up real quick, and yeah, just run it through its paces.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
I definitely think the magnifier up close made that a little bit harder. I'm gonna try it again without the magnifier next. I'm not really sure which one of these are new, but we did get the headshot right there. Height over bore, that makes sense. Just like my other rifle sighted in, height over bore. So we'll aim just a little bit. I'm aiming just a little bit higher next time. So here, and then I got the ear shot again. I felt me pull that. Yeah, we're gonna, I'm gonna take the magnifier down as I run.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
I was a little bit unstable with that shouldering. That's what I hate about these pistol braces, ATF. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to attack us for wanting to defend our home. If I'm defending it with an AR pistol or some type of pistol, you know, these are not very good for shouldering. And I mean, we know that you're not really supposed to shoulder them. However, you know, you don't see it on camera, but I am attaching this to my arm, ATF. So just calm down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, when you pull up with these, it's very hard because it's just not stable. So that does kind of mess me up a little bit, but I'm not making excuses. Looks like we got some more shots here. I think that's new. Yeah, I think we got both of them here. I don't see, that's not new, right?
I think that, no.
I think that was from earlier when I pulled it.
Yeah.
It looks like we got some more shots in here, and then obviously there.
That's right.
Shot a little bit low. Here, I think I pulled it high. Pulled it high, and then you got one of these are new, and then this one. So we could definitely clean it up. So I just need to practice more with this firearm. Give it to me, cameraman.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
All right. Much better. Bring it up a little bit, get a little bit closer, and start running these drills, and they turn out pretty well. I think this one and this one are new.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
that
boom.
One.
Like I said, you're gonna be dealing with a little bit of a height over bore situation when you're this close and you have your optics sighted in for like 50 to 100 yards. You're gonna be up this close, you're gonna be shooting just a tad bit low. So you do have to be mindful of that when you're doing drills.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
Definitely one of these three. I think it's that one.
Mm-hmm.
And these are so mixed up now. I think it might even be that one right there.
We can find out on the camera.
Yeah, the camera, the people know. All right, the people know. So that's what matters the most. Wow, this barrel is burning my shoulder. We did get a fucking headshot there though. That's impressive. This gun does shoot pretty accurate. And then it looks like we added a few more right here. So yeah, I mean, pretty impressed, but we are like, you know, 5 yards away. So this is well, it's a pistol, so I guess that counts. You could take this to your concealed carry class. I don't know why more people don't do that. You know what? I'm showing it up at the next concealed carry class here in North Carolina with a fucking CZ Bren, since the ATF wants to classify this as a fucking pistol. All right, so I'm gonna show up to my CCW class with the CZ Bren, and we're gonna make a video on it and see what happens. Yeah, just kidding. Don't look out for that, because more than likely somebody at the range will probably choke slam me.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep.
All right. Another good headshot on that one. This rifle is performing very, very well. And it's not the barrel or anything necessarily. Like I said in my last video when we talk about like budget AR-15s, like at this distance really, when you're only shooting like 50 yards at most, you know, you're not getting a lot of difference in accuracy between like a chrome line barrel and a hammer forged barrel. But what I will say about this one is just the recoil impulse. I feel like my other one rises so much more. My AR-15 rises so much more, and this one doesn't. Mind you, in my AR-15, I have a brake on it. I do have a Surefire Warden, so that does cause it to, you know, rise a little bit more. But even with that off, it does rise more than this one does. I don't know how much this dead air really helps. I don't know too much about these, to be honest, but it just looks like a standard A2, so I wouldn't think that it's a crazy difference, but maybe I'm wrong. But this gun just doesn't feel like it really rises compared to like an AR. And like I said, I have a buffer, upgraded bolt, upgraded trigger, everything in my AR, and it still feels like it rises just a little bit more, and it's 2 inches longer. So overall, the piston system actually feels like it's less recoil. And when I say recoil, I kind of mean muzzle rise. But I mean, look at that. Perfect. Bam, hit that. You know, we added some more shots in here, as you can tell. That's fine. I mean, on a body, you're still looking at decent ballistics with a shot like that. Here, we placed another one right here on the ear. That would still be probably a shot that would end you in Minecraft. So, still capable. And I don't think I even took one at the body. Oh, actually, is that new?
I think so.
Well, there you go. Fucking mosquitoes are killing me. Look, guys, I'm gonna say this again. You may not think I deserve it, but I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes out here in this North Carolina weather. So, look, you gotta subscribe, like. I could get malaria. I want you guys to just think about that. I could get malaria and die tomorrow, but I'm doing it for you guys, all right, to show you the Bren 2. All right, not for my own selfish pleasures. It's not like I wanted to come out here and shoot this gun just because or anything like that. So,
Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep. Pretty quick.
Could have been a little bit quicker. I hesitated.
We need to get a timer.
I hesitated because I was thinking like this is what I do. Mid-thought, mid-shot, I'm like, should I take a headshot? You know what I mean? Like,
should I take it?
Should I take the headshot? And I'm like, nah, just do to the body. Boom, boom. So then I just spray it. It looks like one of these might be new.
Middle one, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, guys, look, I know I'm hitting the paper here, so as long as it's not thrown off, I mean, you can see on camera overall how this is grouping, but this is pretty good. I mean, we're just fucking around. So here we took 2 to the body, 2. Are these new or no?
No, I think the left one
there.
might be.
So I think this one right here. One of these are definitely new. Look, guys, you may be thinking to yourself right now, you know, this guy, he looks like he's in somewhat good shape. His arms are kind of, you know, muscular. Guys, these aren't even my biceps. These are mosquito bites. All right, that's how bad it's getting out here. All right, these aren't even biceps or mosquito bites. So make sure you like and subscribe and comment, because YouTube hates us. They don't like gun content, but we're gonna make them like gun content. All right, so just give me a shooter ready, stand by, just for shits and giggles.
All right, shooter ready, stand by, beep.
That is a loud fucking gun. All right, we're gonna speed it up a little bit. I'm gonna try trigger control. Like I talked about in my last video, training with your carry gun. I think when you get a new firearm, one of the most important things to do is training the wall on the trigger. So that way, if you are trying to take quick follow-up shots, you can train yourself to take quick, accurate follow-up shots if you just hold that wall. And those are really good to do with a double stage or 2-stage trigger. So
shooter ready, Stand by. Beep. Shooter ready. Stand by. Beep. I think you hit.
That was good trigger control.
I think you hit every damn time.
I think I might have missed one on that one.
Yeah, I think you might have missed one, but it's not like you hit it every time.
I hope that's recording.
I hope it is too.
God damn it. So, just to close this out, guys, the Bren 2, my first impressions. Compared to a AR pistol, it's definitely different. It feels a lot different. The recoil impulse definitely feels different. This is my first like piston driven AR style weapon, and it definitely feels different, and I think there are some definite benefits over something like a basic AR-15 with a direct impingement system. The overall muzzle rise feels a lot different. It feels like it does not have as much muzzle rise. I don't know how much to contribute that to this dead air flash suppressor or A2 birdcage, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how much to contribute to that, but it is a very light recoiling rifle for an 8-inch AR-15, right? AR-15s don't have a lot of recoil, but they do have some rise to them, especially when you start to get into the 10.5-inch, the 8-inch territory. They definitely have a little bit of rise from them from the blast of it. This gun doesn't have a lot of that, and I feel like a lot of it is mitigated by that piston inside of this gun. It feels very, very smooth, guys. The trigger on this thing is phenomenal. I really, really do like it. And I think that could be the downfall of this gun if they installed a crappy trigger in this gun. Since these are not as modular as your AR-15, you know, I don't know how easy it is to swap out a trigger in these. I'm sure there's some aftermarket ones online, but this is a 2-stage trigger from the factory, and it's very light. It feels like it's somewhere around 3.5 pounds or so, and it shoots very, very well. It wasn't hard to learn the wall. The wall is very predictable, and overall, I mean, I'm very happy with it. I have no desire to swap it out for anything else. It really, really does feel good and very comparable to some of the triggers that I have in my AR-15s. What I will say, just the biggest thing going for this gun, and this is gonna sound kind of stupid, but my gun guys out there will know, you know, is this the exotic factor of it, right? Like, everybody's got AR-15s, everybody's got little AR pistols. When you show up to the range, on your range day with your buddies, with a Bren 2, it's just different. The probability of somebody else out there having a Bren 2 is very low. So I think that's what really makes this gun stand out, is it's just different. Just like the Jackal and things like that, these modern combat rifles, they look a lot different than ARs. They look a little bit more exotic, and they just really have that cool factor to them. And as much as we want to talk about how reliable it is and that it's a proven weapon, because, you know, some military services around the world do use this firearm, you know, for me, it's really the cool factor. That's why I bought it. I've wanted a Bren 2. I really like the way that they look. And overall, I'm very impressed with the way it shoots. As you can see, when we were doing some drills out here, this is the first time I've ever shot it, you know, getting used to the trigger and the ergonomics of the firearm. And I was able to do, you know, fairly well with it and learn it fairly quickly. So, you know, this gun does seem like it's very designed around the shooter. I like that you get adjustable gas block from the factory, you get that hammer forged barrel, and overall, like I said, just a very, very sexy looking gun, especially when you put something like an EOTech on here. It really gives you those SWAT vibes. When you do compare this to the other guns in this category, being like the Scar seems to be the one it gets compared to the most often. I've seen Military Arms Channel kind of compare them and a few other YouTubers. Then, you know, if you compare it to that gun, this comes in at a much cheaper price point. If you compare it to a basic AR-15, sure, to your basic AR-15, this is going to be a little bit more expensive and it's going to run you a little bit more money. But when you compare it to something like a Scar that shoots 5.56, when we're talking over $3,000, a lot of times over $3,200 for a Scar of that caliber, then, you know, this running at around $1,800 to $1,900 MSRP is not bad at all, especially when you take in consideration that this doesn't have a reciprocating charging handle. It's probably a little bit lighter. I don't know, I've held a few Scars, I've never really shot them, but from the videos, from what I can tell, from what other people post online, the recoil impulse on this one feels a lot smoother. So overall, it seems like from most reviews that I watched on YouTube, this seems to come in a step above the Scar, just in terms of ergonomics, how it functions and how it feels, and how fast you can shoot it. I've heard the Scar has kind of got like a delay with the piston system. This does not. You can shoot this thing pretty fast. So if you compare it to something like that, or even the SIG MCX, those rifles can get up there and get pretty expensive too, well over $2,000. Then at the right around the $2,000 price point range, I think this gun is an absolute steal, especially if you can find them used in a pawn shop or something like that for a few $100s off. Then this would definitely be a steal and definitely have some advantages over just your basic direct impingement AR-15. I'm really happy with it so far. It shot really well, shot really smooth, and it's just a fun little gun to shoot. I really would like to shoot the 14-inch variant or the 16-inch variant just to see how they feel, because I can only imagine if the 8-inch variant feels like it has no muzzle rise, what the 16-inch and the 14.5-inch feel like. You could probably turn those into you know, marksman style rifles and shoot out with some distance with them, because they're just so accurate. They have that 2-stage trigger, and it's a proven platform. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more expensive than your basic AR-15, or maybe you're even looking at an AR that's in that $2,000 price point range, maybe you take a look at one of these as well, because this could definitely serve you kind of the same purpose as the AR-15 in that price range, but you get all the goodies out of the box. Overall, guys, I mean, I'm just very, very pleased. So I will be doing some videos on this over the next month or so, just kind of comparing it to some other guns and you know, doing some more testing and stuff with it. So please stay tuned if you're interested in the CZ Bren 2. Real quick, just before we close it out completely, I do want to give a shameless shout out to our clothing brand. So here at Crusader Armory TV, we are going to release a clothing brand that is Christian oriented. That's where the Crusaders come from, called Modern Day Crusader. That is my brand. Our first drop is going to be called the Warrior of God series. So every shirt will have a little stamp on the sleeve that says Warrior of God, with a graphic on the back with a Bible verse that's oriented towards warriors. So, you know, we got some really, really cool designs coming out. Some of them are more tactical. So some of them are like soldiers with night vision on and things like that. You'll probably see me wear some of them in some of the other videos. So if you're interested in that and you are a Christian who considers themselves to be a warrior of God, please stay tuned for that drop, because we will be posting about it, and it will be available to you to buy wherever you are, and wear to the gym, wear to the range, wherever you want to symbolize your commitment to God. So without further ado, guys, please don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments in the comments section down below. What do you think about CZ and their firearms? And what do you think about a Bren compared to something like an AR pistol, right? Do you think these modern combat rifles, such as the CZ, the B&T, APC 223, the Jackal, things like that, have a place in the industry? Or do you think that you should just go with the OG AR pistol or AR of some sort? Let us know in the comments below. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time, and I'm out. Peace.